So you want to know how to better influence people. Today I'm going to be sharing some insight on how to influence others, whether it's your staff, your colleagues, or even your boss. Talking about your boss, stick around to the end where I'll be sharing my top tips on how to influence your boss. And it doesn't just work for safety matters. Health and safety in the workplace has come a massive way since the 1974 Health and Safety at Work Act was first introduced. Best practice and shared learning has helped drastically reduce the frequency and severity of accidents and deaths. But how far have we yet to go in influencing people to adopt a more positive attitude towards health and safety in the workplace? Changing attitudes is vitally important. Everyone within an organisation should do everything they can to improve their health and safety performance. As with most things in life, if you want to make a change, you've got to start by looking at yourself. Now that's whether you're the safety manager, the boss, or both. Everyone else will follow your example, so it's crucial that you get it right. You don't just carry out the procedures, you're responsible for creating and implementing them. Therefore, it's down to you to take the lead in promoting a great safety culture to influence behaviour change. Now, some top tips for leaders in safety. Always wear your correct PPE. Now, this might sound so obvious, but you wouldn't believe the amount of CEOs and MDs that call me in to help improve the safety culture of their business. I turn up and they're stood there on the shop floor or in the middle of the site, standing out like a sore thumb because they're not wearing the right PPE. Sometimes no PPE at all. Number 2, do safety walk rounds. Pick a time, a day, each week, and walk around your business. If you're part of a large organisation, pick an area and do a different area each week. Observe people, take notes, speak to those people on the shop floor. Look for what's right and look for what's wrong. When you speak to people, ask them if they've got any concerns. When you see something that's really good, tell people. Tell them that what they're doing is really good. Tell other parts of the business that that part of the business is doing good. Tell them about the best practice that you've seen so it can be shared across the business. Now, if you can find just one thing that's wrong and make a positive change, then you'll be making those incremental improvements towards your safety. Number 3, never walk by. If you see it, you own it. If there's some litter on the floor, if there's a cable across the walkway, move it, pick it up, put it in the bin, sort it out. You might be the CEO, you might be the head of safety, the global head of safety. You can't expect other people to do what's right when nobody else is looking if you're not prepared to do it yourself. If you do spot something, some litter or a cable, and you make a change, make sure you tell the person responsible for that area that you've done it, and for them to keep an eye out for it happening again. Changing the safety culture for any organisation will be slightly different, but as a starting point, the following should be reviewed. Ensure full commitment from management and all employees. How you do this will depend on who you are within the organisation. Now, if you're the boss, great, you're the best person to display leadership to demonstrate your commitment. Now, if you're the safety manager and you need to influence your boss, you need to show them the value proposition. What's in it for them? Well, when it's done properly, a happier workforce, increased production, increased profitability, a better reputation amongst your peers and your customers, possibly reduced insurance costs, and a massive reduction in the likelihood of claims or prosecutions from injuries in the workplace. Now, if that's not enough motivation for them, I don't know what is. Next, you need to create a gap analysis across your entire management system. The easiest way to start with this is to create a legal register. Pick out all the legislation and regulations that apply to your business and compare it with how you do or do not comply at the moment. Next, if you don't already have one, you need to appoint a health and safety representative. Now, this really needs to be a voluntary role. If you're struggling to get a volunteer, then perhaps you could try incentivising. And I don't mean a pay rise, perhaps some training maybe. You also must ensure that they have the time to carry out their rep duties. Next, assess your workforce's current health and safety training. For this, you need to ensure you've got a training matrix with all the roles within your workplace, the training that you picked out that you feel that they need, and you can assess across to see where the gaps are. Now, there's a quote going around on social media that I've seen so many times, and I don't know where it came from, so I can't give credit, so I'm sorry for that. But it goes something like this. CFO says, what if we pay to train all of our staff and then they all leave? CEO says, what if we don't train them and they all stay? Now, just take a second to let that sink in. Now, if somebody's going to leave, they're going to leave. And surely, if they're thinking about leaving, it's better that they do, rather than stay in your organisation and not work to their full potential for you. Now, if you have a high staff turnover, then there's another problem in your business, but that's not for this video. Next, Assess and update existing health and safety tools, systems and procedures. What tools do you help you manage your safety obligations? That's going to be the question for this video. I want you to comment below. Tell me what tools, software and handy tips have you got for managing your safety obligations? Next is sustainability. Whatever you put in place must be sustainable and allow your safety culture to grow. The i-HSEQ 45001 and any good management system relies on continual improvement. Now this can be looked at like this: plan, do, check, act, then repeat the whole process. Continual improvement is the cornerstone of any good quality management system, and I'll be doing a whole video on continual improvement within the quality series of videos to come. If you want to know more about safety culture, then the Dew Point Bradley curve is a great place to start. I will not go too far into it in this video because it's Dew Point's, it's not mine. But it does go something like this: with no intervention, a person will always use their natural instinct. Now, as you can imagine, this is going to vary massively from person to person. The first step on the curve is reactive, as in the organisation takes little or no proactive measures in its safety management. Now this leaves everybody to default back to their natural instinct, fending for themselves, which leads to a poor safety culture and generally a high accident frequency rate. The next step comes when the organisation intervenes and provides supervision. Top-down controls are put into place and the staff depend on the management to ensure that they're working safely. Not ideal, but at least it isn't a free-for-all. We then move on to people independently taking responsibility for themselves and for others, which incidentally is actually a legal requirement. That's right, employees have a legal duty to take responsibility for their own safety and the safety of others. This is achieved by using the safety equipment, wearing the PPE provided, attending training and reporting any problems to their employer. The final stage of the curve is where the whole organisation acts as a team. They all come together and become interdependent. This is the best safety culture that you can achieve, and this is where your accident frequency rate will be as low to zero as possible. Zero. I hate that word. It's used like a number, but it's not. It's a datum, and it can get so confusing. I digress. I will be making a whole video dedicated to safety culture, but for now, let's get back to influencing. So all of this is great if you are the boss. It should give you a great insight on how to better influence your organisation regarding safety. I will be making some more videos on some of the topics we've touched on today. But what if you're the safety manager and you need to influence the boss? What if you feel your boss isn't taking safety seriously? Well, here's my top tips for influencing your boss. 1. You need to find out the best way of communicating with them. And I mean them specifically, not just communication in general. Next time you need to present something to your boss, prepare your presentation and send it to them in advance of the meeting. A day or two is fine. When you have your meeting with the boss, take a copy of your presentation and give it to them. And make sure your presentation is a good mix of text and graphics like charts or images. You should be able to ascertain when you meet if they've actually looked at the stuff that you sent. They'll probably tell you either way. Pay careful attention to the comments they make. Like, I like this page. I really like this graph. Or perhaps something like, your explanation here is just what I was looking for. This should give you some really good insights on how to communicate with them, be it text, graph, images, or a good combination of all. And whether they like the stuff to be sent in advance, or whether they're going to look at it on the day. Now, depending on your relationship with your boss, you may actually be able to just come out and ask them what the best way is to communicate with them. 2. Understand their goals and motivation. Now, I think I'm right in saying every organisation wants their workers to be safe and healthy. If you don't believe that, why are you still working there? But that's not the why of the business. The business is there to make money, profits, keep shareholders happy, to make a difference in the world. Whatever it is, not many people start a business just to provide a safe and healthy workplace. Although I did read a certain American-owned international coffee shop set their whole business up just so they could provide a workplace that provided free healthcare. Now this is in America where you have to pay for healthcare, not like over here in the UK where you have the amazing NHS. Now, if that's true, wow, what an amazing company and what an amazing reason to start up business. Incidentally, I love coffee, not theirs so much. You need to understand what the current goal or motivator is for the business or your boss. Is it cutting costs? Is it innovation? Is it growth? Whatever it is, find out and align what you're trying to achieve with their goals and their motivators right now. And I say right now because things change over time. Number 3, follow through on what you said you were going to do. If you've made empty promises in the past, why should your boss trust you now? You've got to have integrity if you want to influence your boss. And that's simple. Tell them what you're going to do, tell them what you're going to achieve, and do it. And then tell them again and do it again. And repeat. Once you've built up that integrity and trust, you can go to your boss and you can say, hey, you know how I achieved X, Y, and Z? Well, now I really need to change A. And tell them why. Perhaps A is now the weakest part of your safety management system. And you're really concerned that all of your hard work is going to be undone if we don't get that up to scratch with X, Y, and Z. So tell them, I need to change this part and I will deliver this. So tell them what it is that you need from them, what you're trying to influence them on, and tell them what you're going to deliver to them in return. But that foundation of trust and integrity needs to be there first. Thank you so much for watching. And if there's any topics you want to see in the future, please let me know by commenting below. If you haven't already, please check out some of my other videos. And so you don't miss out in the future, please subscribe to my channel.